Hey, and welcome, B-Siders, to a new episode of my Living on a B-Side podcast. I appreciate you being here and tuning in for another probably half an hour, 40 minutes of juicy golden nuggets all about music and the impact it can have in our life if we let it. And I'm joined by another amazing guest today. Wonderful and tragic backstory to how she came to be where she is, and I can't wait for her to share that all with you, and the impact it had and the outcome it had as well, which is amazing, but in a way sad as well. But let's not focus too much on the sad stuff, I hope, and more on the powerful message that has come through it all, which is hopefully gonna change the world one song at a time, as I always say. And yes, I want to welcome Rachelle to my podcast. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for saying yes and coming on. I can't wait to share with everybody your journey with music. Before we do, I would love to just quickly introduce you a little bit, and please feel free to add on anything that you feel is important for my audience to know. I might forget a couple of things, so please bear with me. But one thing that popped out on your bio for me was that you are a #1 international best-selling author, which is amazing. You have done a TEDx speech, which hats off to you. Not there yet. But you're also a proud mama to 2 wonderful kids, which I think we have to mention because bringing up kids is amazing in itself.
Yes.
And I think the rest goes more into the story of why you are where you are. So we'll probably cover that in a little bit. And you do something amazing for a living, I say. I don't know if for a living sounds right, but that's what you do every day. And I would love for you to share that, because I think you can probably explain it better than I can. What you currently do as a job, or what your business
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur now for about 5 years, and I consider myself a storytelling strategist. So, where do you want to share your story to? Because our short stories are powerful. It's what can create human impact. It's what can really inspire others and get others to take action, and so many things. So I like to help clients either share their stories and their message through podcasts, doing podcast outreach, or on the TEDx stage, helping them get clear for their idea we're spreading on the TEDx stage. And then my newer program is advocating through music. So it's really sharing your story in a personalized song, and then using that to create a lyric video to bring awareness to a cause. So we'll probably talk about that more a little bit later of what I did, but I love music. It's always been a part of my life, and it's finally come full circle to where I can actually do something with it, with work, and really help others share their story in a different way.
Amazing. I so love it. You are the people that other people need to more of. You and others who do similar work. Because I always say music heals, and so, and I'm so excited to see all these new ways of work and businesses popping up that use music in that way. So absolutely excited for you, actually. Now, can we sort of go back a little bit and maybe start where things have started for you on what you're doing now? Obviously, your kind of backstory of what triggered you to dive into becoming an artist yourself, writing your own music, and then working with the charity that you're now working with. I'd love to hear about that, because that's pretty powerful.
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, music has always been a part of my life. When I was a little child, I was in the cherub, in the choir at church, and I rang the bells, and I was in the singing groups and did the plays and all that stuff. And in high school, I was in the vocal ensemble. So we did singing and dancing, and we performed. And then after high school, there was a guy that was in our group who played phenomenal guitar. Like we knew he'd make it big somewhere. Like he just jammed on a guitar like no other. Like he was so good. And he started giving lessons after I graduated from high school. So I took some lessons from him. And I kind of dabbled a little in writing music, to cheesy love songs. It's just nothing like,
As you
And
do.
because I grew up in the 80s era with all the big hair, love song ballads and, just,
Yeah.
I love that stuff. So, and then fast forward like 20 years, I didn't really play much. I maybe on occasion would sing at a karaoke bar. But it wasn't until after I got divorced that I picked up my guitar again and started playing. And I found Mark. I lost him for several years. I didn't know where he went. And I found him, and he had a studio right near me, like 10 minutes away. So I started taking lessons from him again. And he kept bugging me, like every time I'd see him, he's like, "You should start writing songs." And I was like, and I'd laugh it off and I'd be like, "I don't know how to write songs. You talking about?" Because I was in forensics back then, and I worked in a crime lab. And so finally I just decided to start writing so he'd get off my back, and then out popped some songs, and he and I've collaborated on a lot. And my sister was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2016, and she always supported my music. She'd come watch me play, and she loved music herself. And then she passed away in 2018 from her colon cancer battle. And the day after she passed away from colon cancer, I wrote a song that was my interpretation of her cancer journey. And it really was a way for me to just channel my grief and my anger that she was gone. And it was really cathartic for me. And Mark and I played it at her celebration of life. I ended up publishing it so that we would maybe raise some money for a colon cancer group in San Diego. And then I remember during the pandemic, like a year into it, I was sitting here at my desk and I was just like, okay, God, like, what am I meant to do in this lifetime? Like, I love what I do supporting speakers, but like there's more to it. And I didn't know what it was. And instantly I got this download of stories through music, and I didn't know what that meant, but I wrote it down. I looked up the domain. It was open. I bought it. I had no idea what I would do with it. And then I decided to create a lyric video of my sister's song and incorporate her story and colon cancer statistics and facts in it, because I figured I could share her story through music. And that's just combining music and a story and advocating for something can really like tie the pieces together to help create impact. And people would see, yes, get screened. It's important to not skip your colonoscopies. And then I started reaching out to, like, I created a list of all the colon cancer groups I could find. I reached out, I sent a cold email, and, I got responses back that, people were like, I was moved to tears, that made me cry. Like, we'll share it on our social media sites. Some they asked Mark and I to play at their virtual concert. One group asked me to become an ambassador for them. And, I just, all of a sudden, I got really involved in this whole other world just from that lyric video that I created. And that's what my TED talk was on my TEDx talk that I did last year. That's what it was on, the power of advocating through music. Because I saw what it did for me, and I thought, well, what can this do for other people? What would it do if you took your story, put it into a song, your own song, and then you use that to create messaging around some sort of awareness, like something that you're passionate about, that you want to advocate for. And it doesn't have to be health stuff. It could be, something else.
Mm-hmm. Let's all just digest that, right? Because that's powerful stuff. Well, I feel anyway, it is.
Yeah, it was amazing how it all unfolded. I was really, I meditate a lot, and I feel like I get a lot of, my inner voice just tells me like a lot of what to do next, or I get these downloads from throughout the day of this, and I don't really know what they mean, but I know they mean something. They will mean something. And so that's kind of how like the advocating through music program transpired, was just, my sister. And I'm working with some beta clients right now to have, at least a good sample set, so that people can see what it's about. And it's been like the most amazing process and journey. And it's like, when you find your why and you find your passion, it's not work. It's just play. It is creativity. It's so much fun. I could be in that studio 24/7 at no problem with just doing that stuff. It's just super fun.
Wonderful. And like you said, you're just like got your first beta version happening. So I would say by the time this interview will be released to the world, it would be live. So if it is, we'll put any links or details obviously in the description. So if people are interested, they can get in touch with you to find out more and see how they can create their own song about whatever is important to them. And like you said, it doesn't have to be about a certain charity or anything like that. It could just be, I don't know, maybe even about a pet that has helped you survive, because there's so many amazing stories about, pets helping people and saving their lives or whatever it is. So there's obviously different stories people have to tell. So
Yeah.
I find that interesting, just thinking about that process that you're putting together to sort of coax it out of someone and then put that into lyrics and then writing the song. I mean, that's just, for me, it's kind of like, whoa, but if that's your thing.
Yeah, it's been, well, what being helping clients get clear for their idea for the TEDx stage, you really do a deep dive into their stories, because a lot of time the idea can come from the through line of their stories. So I like to get really deep into people's stories and, find out where those areas are that are really going to connect with other people when you share your talk on the stage, because it's those stories that connect us, right? Because, there's a lot of other people probably experiencing same thing, the same things that we have in life. And it makes people not feel so alone, or that, we've all kind of been there in some way through whatever experience it might be. And so, writing a song, it's really kind of doing that too. It's going into their stories and then, finding out what it is that they're passionate about that they want to share. So how can we kind of like kind of mesh those two together, the story and the cause, and put that into lyrics, and then creating a melody. Like, what does that feel like? Like, the melody is so important too, because, if the song is, the lyrics are maybe, like I just worked on one client and she had a very inspiring story from a tragic accident, from a routine medical procedure that left her paralyzed right away on the right side, and she was told she would never walk again, and within a week she was walking. So it's very uplifting, like that she never took no as an answer, her diagnosis, literally. And I asked her, what kind of music do you like? And she likes folk kind of country music, and so that we put that kind of like melody to it, and it turned out really nice. So yeah, there's like, it's taking these pieces of like what they like and their stories, and what do the lyrics feel like when I read them? Does it feel heavy here? Then maybe we want to put an instrument that kind of has that heavy tone. And playing around with it. So that's why it's so much fun for me, because it's such a creative process. And as you know, music is just like, I mean, it opens up like the Pandora of like just creating so many things, and you really could take a song certain ways, but it's trying to like really keep it focused on like, how can we make the biggest impact with the lyrics and the melody and everything.
Yeah. Wow. Sounds very intense, but also very exciting and pleasurable, I suppose, if you can really do that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sort of thinking about if someone is keen to kind of explore that way of, I don't know if you call it processing or just wanting to kind of capture a moment in their life. Have you got sort of any starter tips what they should think about if they want to?
If they want to do something like this,
Yeah, or just sort of like on a basic level. Like obviously, no one
yeah.
can. It's obviously a very intense process that's best done with someone like you. But if they just want to have a little bit of a think about and maybe just do like a brain dump, brainstorm kind of thing, any tips on how to do that?
I think a brain dump is great. When you start writing, things will start to flow and you're going to get all your thoughts out of your head. And there's something with pen to paper that really channels like stuff, and can create some magic. I think meditating is great too. I get a lot of my insight from meditating, and I sometimes even ask myself a question before I meditate if I want to get more information like around something. And then the other thing too is like if you're wanting to speak more or share a message more, ask your closest people, your friends, what it is they think you should speak on. That's a good way to like get feedback from people that really know you, because they know your stories the most. And they know when you light up, when you talk about something and what you're passionate about. And people know I'm passionate about advocating, I'm passionate about, helping people create impact, human impact, and talking on the stage and sharing their message. I'm passionate about music and songwriting. So like, it's a good way to, just kind of like brainstorm your own, with your own self and maybe people that to see like what it is that you can share with others.
Yeah, yeah, great tips. And I love the one where you say ask others, because sometimes, we sort of too close.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that comes from a book. It's called The Breakthrough Speaker by Adam Smiley. I can't say his last name, but that's one of he has these exercises in his book. And that's one of the exercises he suggests is like, if you don't know what you want to talk about, ask people that know you the most.
Yeah, good point. Because yeah, sometimes you can't see it yourself, and other people are going, "That's what you constantly talk about. You never shut up about it."
Exactly, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to music, well, we've always been with music, but a bit more about yourself. What do you tune into on a day when you just sort of think, "Oh, I want to listen to some music." What music do you sort of put on?
I think kind of what I'm in the mood for, like maybe I'm in the mood for like maybe I need a mind shift, like something to shift my mind. Maybe I'm not in a good space. I'm like worrying about something, or so I have this playlist. It's a mind shift playlist. And it's just songs that really get me into a different space. And I mean, I would say like I love 80s. 80s, I'm an 80s girl, and any 80s music will like put me in a good mood right away. Sometimes I play like I have a band in San Diego, and we have set lists songs we play, and sometimes I'll play those just to memorize the songs and the songs that we're going to do for our next gig. And then, in the morning, what I do, and I just started doing this, is I play my own songs that I've written. And I think it's kind of like an affirmation in a way for me to remember my why. Like this is what I'm meant to do.
That's a
And
really
so I put that into my morning routine because I wake up at 4:30. I do my Miracle Morning. If you haven't read the Miracle Morning book by Hal Elrod, it's amazing. It was life-changing for me, and that's part of my morning routine is I do certain things and I listen to my song because I know that's like, I think that's part of my gift from God is, helping others share their story in a different way. Um, so I like to listen to, my songs to help me remember what my why is.
That's a great idea. Maybe other people could do something similar. Obviously, if they don't have their own song, just
Or
pick
a
an
song
artist
that,
and a song that really
yeah,
resonates and describes your why, and use
yeah,
that to.
maybe there's a song that really resonates with you, and your story, and listen to that.
Mm. Yeah, great tip. Only takes a few minutes, so
Yeah.
very easy way to kind of center yourself again.
Yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, 80s music. I'm an 80s baby too, so there you go. Can't go wrong with that, especially the rock
It's the
ballads.
best decade of music, I swear. Like
Oh,
and we sing so many of their songs, and it's funny because like those guys had the highest range in voice, and I can't even sing some of them. Like, I mean, it's amazing their pitch level of, all the big hair, long haired bands that could just sing. Like their voice was amazing.
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not a musician, so I don't understand their technique of singing and stuff like that as in depth as someone like you does. But for me, it's just the way they, yeah, just the energy and the way they make me
Yeah.
feel, and just they kind of
Yeah.
capture the life at
Mm-hmm.
that point. So yeah, I
Yeah.
fall back onto that a lot.
Yeah.
Can't go
And
wrong.
songs are just written differently now today, like a lot of newer songs are heavily produced and, they don't have like bridges and, certain things in them like they used
Hmm.
to. And so I think, a lot of those 70s, 80s, well, even before and some today just have that really kind of deep connection and
Hmm.
um
Yeah, that's a discussion I have a lot with my husband. We sort of go on what changed.
yeah,
Because the 90s were still fine. I think there's some good
yeah,
music in the 90s, but then I feel like as soon as 2000 hits, there was a shift. And yeah, like you said, it feels like the songwriting might have changed,
yeah.
which is a shame because for me growing up, having artists that wrote these songs, I mean, sometimes they were like almost a lifesaver,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and these days I try to be open-minded, and there are still good songs and artists out there, no doubt about it, but it's
Mhm.
I do have troubles connecting sometimes, maybe
Yeah.
because I'm, I don't know. Anyway, so
That's
we
why I listen
know.
to the old stuff. And even my daughter, she's 13 and she listens to all the music that I do. And she's like, Mom, she goes, I think I was born in the wrong era.
That's funny when you go on like a YouTube clip and you read the comments, there's so many saying I'm like 20 years old or whatever, and I'm born in the wrong time.
I know. And we had a gig last week for Make a Wish Foundation. We did a fundraiser. And so we were playing at this brewery. And this kid came in who I've seen. He actually takes lessons from my guitar instructor. And he
Hmm.
comes in and he's sitting down and we're singing all these 80s like Ozzy Osbourne, Pat Benatar,
Love it.
all these 80s tunes and he's singing every single one of them. And he ended up coming up and playing with us on the last song
Oh,
for
cool.
Sweet Child of Mine, which is, a Guns N' Roses song.
Hmm.
And he was up there jamming. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. He's probably like 14 years old, but I thought it was so awesome that he knew every song and he was like, he just really enjoyed it.
Oh, wow. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, so cool. It's nice to see that, kids still get so much out of it, even at that age,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
totally dig it, which is cool. Love it.
Yeah.
Now we know you're obviously an 80s music lover, but my question, and I do tend to ask it toward the end of an interview, but I have to ask you now because yeah, I can't wait. It, and I kind of know the answer, but we're still gonna go there.
Okay.
Um, a song that describes your life and or business, and why? And I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. And I think you've talked about it.
A song that describes my life?
And or your business.
Hmm.
It can be just at this moment in time, because sometimes we go through phases and we have like theme songs for certain phases of our life.
I would say the song by Van Halen called Right Now.
Yep.
That's a that's probably a song that, it talks about like doing it right now, like don't wait. Like we
Hmm.
don't, we may not get that opportunity. So that's
Mm.
I love that with my clients who take the leap to like, take their speaking to the next level and to really create human impact because we don't know, when our time is going to end on this in this lifetime, and you don't want to have those regrets. You don't want to have shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I would have done this, or I wish I could have done this, or anything like that. And I live my life that way. I was diagnosed with a rare brain tumor in 2008, and that really changed my life. And I live my life like, I mean, I do stuff people, my family cringes and they like don't understand me at times. But I go skydiving, or I'll go on a solo road trip, and I just, we'll do some crazy stuff sometimes, but it's because all we have is right now, and we don't know what tomorrow brings. So I think that's probably one song, not only that kind of describes not only my life and what I do, but what I do to help others. And when I was back in the day, when I was going through a program, I actually became a paramedic after high school. That song really helped me through, because it was a 50% failure rate for a paramedic school, and there were 32 of us, and 16 of us graduated. And I was on the fence at the end, and I remember the instructor telling me, she's like, if you don't do better, you're going to get cut. And I listened to that song every shift, every time I had to go in and do my ride along, and that really helped me get through that time. So that song's probably always been one that's like kind of pivotal for me.
Wow. That's kind of the power of music right there, isn't it? Helping you
Yeah.
to shift your mindset and really go for it.
Yep.
Mm.
And I
Oh my
didn't
gosh.
realize it at the time that I went to music. Like, why did I go to music to help
Mm.
me? Like I didn't do a lot of personal development work back in my early 20s. Like I didn't do any of that until 2008, when I was diagnosed with my brain tumor. So it was years later. But I look back now and I'm like, I was drawn to music to help me shift my mindset and help me get through a really difficult time. And so I think music, it's so powerful. It can help us through a lot. It can help us process things. It can help us understand ourselves better. It can help us get through hard times. There's so many things.
Oh my God. Yes, 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 yes to everything. I can so relate, because
Mhm.
that's part of kind of my journey. It was so crucial, especially sort of teenage years, early 20s. I always say, if I would have not had music, I don't know who I will be today and where I will be today.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my best friend and savior in some moments. So, and even though
Yeah.
my life obviously compared to others wasn't as tragic, I didn't have, anything super serious happening to me, but it's like a lot of kids go through, like bullying and problems at home, things like that, that just really can knock you off your feet. And thankfully, I've always had music there to kind of say, all right, deep breath, you can get through this.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. But I find that amazing that you actually went from being paramedic, you know, crime scene investigator, is that right? Was
Yeah.
it?
Well, I was a
To what you're
forensic.
doing now.
Yeah. So I was a paramedic for 6 years, and I got into forensics and did that for 20 years. And then I had my midlife awakening, I call it, when I was 46, and I became an entrepreneur. So I've never looked back. It's been fun.
I reckon your ways of I don't want to say analyze, but working sort of, with the process and everything probably helps you now with what you're doing now to be able to
Yeah.
see and spot things that people probably don't. So
Yeah.
good
I
preparation.
Yeah, I mean, well, being a paramedic, you work under pressure, and you have to make life-changing decisions, and within seconds, what you could do could help this patient or it could hurt them. So you had to make these decisions very quickly. And then in forensics, it was very like detail oriented. You had to analyze evidence and make sure you didn't miss anything, because it could shift a case, from this way to this way. And so it was, really analyzing that evidence and then articulating that when I'd have to go to court and testify. So, yeah, I mean, I've had a really eclectic background, but I really think a lot of it, um, was around advocacy too, advocating for patients as a medic, and then advocating for the truth when I was in forensics. And now I'm helping others advocate for their cause, like whatever it is that they're passionate about. So it kind of came around full circle again than that. And so that's been kind of fun.
I was just about to say that there was like this red line going through your life until you became really conscious about this is my
Mm-hmm.
why.
Yep.
That's kind of amazing, and I hope that encourages other people not to give up and know that their why and their passion will be revealed, and you're kind of never too old. Never.
No, like age is just a number. If you want to really look at like perspective and go watch Gary Vee videos. Like he will tell you if you're 50, people are like ready to quit, like they're ready to retire and he's like, "No, you've got 30 good years left in you probably. Like this is the time to like if you really want to do something, start it now. Like don't wait." There's nothing worse. And he talks about talking to, people in their 80s that they have regrets that they didn't do what they wanted to do.
Mm.
So, yeah, there's no better time to start something than now. Like, doesn't matter what age you are. I think Colonel Sanders for Kentucky Fried Chicken started, that in his 70s. And look what happened. So, like, there's people who've done things when they were older that, created these amazing businesses, and
Mm-hmm.
it's just really, trusting yourself that you can do it and drowning out the naysayers because, I did, people did tell me I was having a midlife crisis and I had to really just drown it all out and knew that I felt it in my entire body that it was the right thing to do and I trusted that. So, just trust yourself and if you want to do that, get the support, hire a coach, like hire somebody to help you get through that transitional period. Because I'm telling you, once you get to the other side, it's like nothing but pure bliss and joy.
Mm. Yeah. Nice. We could probably just go, all right, mic drop, let's go. That's about it. Yeah. And yeah, I agree. Sometimes it can be really difficult and you doubt yourself, but at the end of the day, if your gut instinct tells it's the right thing, then it probably is worth pursuing, even if
Yep.
it's just half an hour every day or
Yep.
once a week for an hour. Just
Yep.
keep going.
I had a mentor once say, inch by inch is a cinch, yard by yard is hard. So it's just baby steps. And those baby steps create bigger steps. And then
Yeah.
it creates giant steps later. So, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I think we've covered some really cool things, golden nuggets as I call them. Maybe I should find another word that fits more with the music things. I have to think about that. But yeah, I'm really chuffed that you came on and shared your story. I think it's very inspiring for so many others to hopefully, if they love music, to do something with it, because there's always something you can do, even if you're not very musical or you're
Yeah.
not playing an instrument or you're not into playing live or whatever it is, which is like, for me for example, I'm not inclined to ever go on stage and play an instrument at this moment in time, so but yeah,
You never know,
hopefully.
though.
Hmm?
You never know.
You never know, never say
Never.
never, do they? But yeah, it's just good to know that there's ways of sharing your passion with and through music that
Yeah,
probably people didn't think about 5-10 years ago. So
yeah.
thank you for sharing your gift with the world. I think it's very
Thank you.
needed.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, you're so welcome. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this one up, or I think we've covered
I
most of
think
it?
we've covered it all. Just, go do your thing. Go do you. We have this one lifetime, so just
Right.
do what it is that you love. Find out what that is. Find your why. My wish is that everybody finds their why. What were they meant to do in this lifetime, and share those gifts with others.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. As always, if you want to get in touch with Rachelle, her details will be in the episode description. Please don't hesitate. She will be more than happy to help you write a beautiful song and dig into, get all the juicy bits out and write a beautiful song with that and whatever else there is. I'm sure if you want to do a TEDx talk, you still help people along those lines, don't you? Or is that something you
Yeah.
want to phase out?
The TEDx, no, I always love supporting TEDx because it's just a great platform. It's a global stage, recognized. It's been around for a long time, and it really can change not only other people's lives, but it could change your life overnight if your talk goes viral and really can create a big impact. So I love doing TEDx. I'm not affiliated with them. I just am a TEDx ideation coach. And I work with somebody who worked in the TEDx arena for 12 or over 10 years. And it's a great platform. So I love that. And I love, the advocating through music.
Awesome. So if one of those two or maybe both tickle your fancy, where to find Rachelle there. Go and check the episode description. Otherwise, that's it. We've done it. Yeah. And I'm going to leave it at this. I'm not going to say anything else apart from thank you.
Thank
to
you.
Rachelle for coming on, and thank you, B-Siders, for tuning in again to this episode. And I always say keep on dancing and keep on rocking, and I shall see and talk to you again in my next episode. Until then, take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.